1 hour and 49 minutes.
Yeah.
No, never It does slow down in places, but
Get out of here.
Thank you.
Anyway, welcome to my review for The Old Guard on Netflix right now. So The Old Guard, directed by Gina Prince Blythe Wood. Now, never heard of her before, don't know how new she is to the scene. This is her first foray into the action genre. She does a pretty good job here, and this film stars the atomic blonde herself, Charlize Theron. Gotta say, that is an underrated movie, and if you haven't seen Atomic Blonde, you really need to, because she kicks all kinds of ass in that film. And Kiki Lane, I've kind of heard about her, never really seen her. I thought she was very good. Matthias Schneertz, I hope I got your name right, dude, because he was kind of a standout in this as well, actually, even though he's playing a bit of a douchebag. Harry Melling, who plays a Hogwarts type villain. I know he was in the Harry Potter films, but yeah, I'll get to him in a moment, because I've got a few things to say about his role in this film. And last but not least, we have Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's great, I love that actor. And don't forget, he's a Shakespearean dude. He's been on stage, he has chanted Othello. You know, for any actor who can do that on stage without breaking concentration, gets the biggest thumbs up from me. And he's okay in this film, not his fault. I think the way he's written is quite poor. You kind of know what sort of character he turns out to be at the beginning and what he becomes at the end. So The Old Guard is based on a graphic novel which I've never heard of, and let's face it, in the hemisphere of comic books, there are too many things to read at the moment. Hell, I'm not even going to read The Boys by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, because I love the TV show and I don't want things ruined for me if I read that. So I'm just leaving that to one side. I might eventually pick it up. So in The Old Guard, Theron plays Andy, the leader of a group of mercs who just seem to have the power of resurrection every single time. You notice from the first 5 minutes of the movie, so you're not left thinking, oh. This movie kind of sent me to sleep in places, not intentionally, I suppose. I think the pacing has some issues. Just when things are slowing down, they slow down a bit too much and you want things to pick up again. And that is not the fault of the director, I'm just assuming the way it was edited. I had those issues with the film. Also the fight scenes and the choreography. Now listen, I mentioned Atomic Blonde before. That was done by Chad Stahelski, or the other dude of that partnership with the job behind the John Wick franchise. And I think since John Wick came out in 2014, it seems every other Hollywood action movie is trying to be John Wick, but they can't, because there's only one Keanu Reeves, and let's face it, the dude is breathtaking. And you can't try to emulate a copy of that. And I think whoever went to Netflix and pitched the idea for The Old Guard, okay, what have we got? Yeah. Have you got any cool fight scenes? Yeah. Charlize Theron does most of her own stunts. Yeah, good, great. Let's sign on a dotted line. Let's get this film made. And that's what it feels like to me. It's like, it's a showcase of great action scenes. Well, mostly great, but I'll talk about that too. Charlize Theron does most of her own stunts. There's actually one fight scene towards the end where you can actually see it's her. She does like a forward flip, and it's like, oh, that's actually Charlize Theron who just did that in one shot. So that's the thing. When they don't want to cheat the audience, you'll see things done in one shot. But when you kind of see the cameras pulling away, then you probably have to assume it's a stunt woman in that instance. Charlize Theron is still athletic. She looks amazing. She still looks great. She is almost immortal herself. If you look at her, the woman has not aged a day. She looks fantastic. The scenes where people are getting stabbed, I find they're strangely edited. Like they pull away from the shot just as you see blood is spurting. Yeah, so let's talk about Harry Melling's character of Merrick. He's this corporate overlord douchebag who just strikes fear into his enemies. He's got no real physical presence or power about him except this big grinning snarly face. He kind of reminds me of Desmond Miles from Assassin's Creed. He's got a hoodie on and everything else. The only thing that's missing is...
Desmond, shut the fuck up.
And the fact that he works for a giant pharmaceutical company that reminded me very much of Asturgo from those games. And then the inside kind of reminds me of the Animus, which is weird. There was a sort of a Assassin's Creed vibe in there, but they kind of stayed away from it, or just borrowed a tiny bit of influence here, there and everywhere. And yeah, and he's just poorly written. They could have made him really menacing, and I think they had a missed opportunity. That is the problem with action films at the moment. I like the John Wick franchise, where you've got a great baddie in every single film. Here it's just like, yeah, we'll get someone to walk on. We're not going to really write a great role for them, and we'll just get them to snarl in front of the camera a couple of times, and then they can just go back to their trailer and stay there for the next few hours. Now, in this group of elite mercenaries, we find out one of the team members has been buried for 500 years in a Harry Houdini style tin box because she was thought to be a witch. And nobody really cared about that plot because we never got a chance to know the character. And by the time we get to the end credits, just as they're about to roll, oh, guess what? 3 dots appear. What happens? So Matthias Schnoertz, the guy I mentioned before, he goes back to his apartment. He's like drunk, just in a rage, opens the door, and guess what? Yeah, she's there. How did she get out of the tin box? Who knows? Who cares? Apparently we're going to get a sequel. Maybe. I hope not. Don't, Netflix, please don't give us a sequel to The Old Guard. So please, Netflix, put your money somewhere else, like maybe a 4th season of Daredevil, perhaps. I know it's never going to come back, but I'd rather see money being shelled out for that than for a sequel to The Old Guard, because, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, give it a watch if you're bored, but otherwise, there's plenty of other things on Netflix you could watch. Maybe like the first 3 seasons of Stranger Things again.